to the recording.
Okay.
I have not prepared at all.
Yeah, me neither. But I think it works better when it's sort of improvised. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I even have these perfect flowers on the background, you see? It's tulips, if you do not recognize them.
Yeah, I mean, I can sort of tell. But you have another one, which is quite green, and it's.
And this is avocado.
Is it really? Do
Yeah,
you like real?
yeah. It was born in COVID, during COVID. I mean, the very beginning of COVID, because COVID has not disappeared yet. But anyway.
Yeah. During the
Yeah, I
pandemic.
think it's like 2 years old, maybe, or 2, 3. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's trying to die. Every my every trip, it's trying to die, but it has no chance.
Cool. All right. Well, that's a nice thing to have. I'm so jealous now. I mean, you can't be starting off to our discussion. You can't be all the things you are, and at the same time have such a green thumb.
I think it's really life loving. I don't know how to name it, because sometimes it's living without water during like kind of 2 weeks, or until someone remembers to pour some water.
Right. Okay. So a survivor, right? Okay.
True. It's the only plant that is surviving in my apartment.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so well, before we begin, even though I know that we agreed to have it as similar to the way we are normally having our lessons, so and it will be very, very informal and improvised and not planned, and I think this natural flow, it works best for things like that. Actually, personally, I'd prefer that, but I still need to introduce you, and I need you to say a couple of words about yourself as well, because people will be listening and they have to know how lucky they are. Because no, that's true. I think it's very important to, yes, I'm really happy to have this chance to share your experience and everything you went through with the others. And what I'm talking about is the fact that actually, I just want to say that when you first contacted me, I was like not be able to figure out like what do you want me to do here. I mean, like, your English was so good, first of all. Secondly, if you remember, yeah, it was good. Don't deny. I mean, like,
okay.
Actually,
there was a room for improvement. So for sure.
There always is, but it already was very good. And if you remember, you first contacted me to help you participate in a podcast, which was hosted by an American person. So that's like an American podcast on wedding organization, I think.
Yeah.
What was that?
It was the podcast of the wedding planner, and she was inviting specialists in some kind of wedding services, and I was launching the wedding websites project. So first of all, I reached her regarding just collaboration with her clients to provide them my services, but she suggested to go a little bit further and to tell them more through her podcast. Yeah, and I came to you because I have, as always, I was not prepared for this podcast at all, and it was in maybe 4 hours from our, or maybe 2 hours from our first class. So we had 1 hour to get prepared. Right, that's true.
All right. Yeah, but that was a pretty impressive thing for me, because when it comes to immigration, I think the question that universally we have to answer to ourselves is whether we want to get integrated into the society where we're into the community, and maybe different communities where we are going to, which are not necessarily and they're definitely not Russian speaking societies and communities. Now it's changing, because now I can see lots of communities being formed, and they are Russian speaking communities, and they're very strong and they're very vibrant. People tell me in Cyprus there is a huge hub of IT and freelance people doing their work there, living there. It's almost like Moscow in an exile. Dubai is a famous place, which is also, a big attraction for Russian immigrants. But normally, to me, first of all, when I came here, it was always a question of how am I going to get integrated? How am I going to, and to me, it was always a problem, because I work with Russian people, with Russian students. I'm not going to teach, I don't know, and I'm not going to teach English to Spanish people, for example. And I think that's what scares those who want to start the immigration process, but they're not sure if they will be able to transfer their work to an English-speaking environment. And I know a lot of very talented people who are afraid of making the step only because they're not sure if they will be able to get English-speaking clients. They're used to speaking in Russian and working with Russian. So even though, again, this is not according to the plan which I sent you, but I think this is something which is, but I feel like that's something we can start with. How do you think a person who wants to immigrate can make sure that they get integrated into the non-Russian speaking society and community?
Oh my God. You're asking the person who is now sitting in St. Petersburg and planning to move again to another country, another society, and another culture, hopefully. And I'm not sure that I have the answer, but I think I can only share my own experience. And I definitely was and still am the person who is afraid of not getting integrated. And I can also say that, in my opinion, it's our cultural part of being afraid of that. And it's our cultural characteristic of being ashamed of our accents and so on, because I had a chance to work for a huge event of a corporate company regarding the design. And I was listening to their interviews of their top management, like C-level, and some of them were French. It was a French headquarters company, and I was just simply shocked, because the way he was speaking was just terrible, simply terrible. It was very difficult to understand what he even means, not the exact words. And that was the one of the points, like one of the milestones, when it made it easier for me to leave, because we will never be native speakers. I mean, we will never be native speakers. And in my opinion, it's just simply, the main part is that another person understands you, and that's it. And that's enough. Because when we are not doing something because we are afraid of not getting there, of not getting integrated, we for sure will not be integrated, because we even do not try. And that was one of the moments when I stepped over my language barrier, which was pretty strong, believe me, a couple of years ago. Not a couple, but a few years ago. There is a history of that. But yeah, that's the main part I want to say. Less doubts makes more results, maybe, because doubts are just eating energy and just not helping us to move on. That's the main thing, in my opinion. What do you say?
Sure. Well, I would say I wanted to stop myself from saying this, but since you asked, I want to say that there is definitely a threshold of these proficiency that you have, because I see many people promoting the idea that yes, you should be speaking as fast as possible, the more the better. And when people with, I don't know, like intermediate level do that, or people who have horrible mistakes in pronunciation do that, I feel like no, you should not be doing it. You should be working on your level first and then put yourself out there. But it's just funny how people who don't belong to this category at all, who do not have these problems to begin with, when you came to me, like you never had problems with your pronunciation. I mean, of course, it's not the one which will, like, someone listens to you and they think that you're a native speaker. Another is mine. No one thinks that I'm a native speaker when they speak to me. And that's not even the goal. I don't think that that should be a goal, unless we're spies or something. We don't really need that. It's just funny how people who do not have these problems in reality, they have this problem in their head. And it's crazy how this correlation, how strong this correlation is. You wouldn't believe that. And I can bet anything I have on the fact that normally 99% of cases, the person who has the higher their level of English is, the more hesitation they have to speak, to, you know, participate in this in the discussion with native speakers and so on and so forth. It blows my mind, honestly. These people, they're always the most anxious and worried about their performance, whereas people who have
but let's mention here that their level of English is maybe the result of their anxiousness, because anxiety, yeah, here it is. So because otherwise they would just go further and not spend time on learning and getting deeper to the details and everything. So, but yeah, I know what you say. I know that you're saying, but what I try to say is not the fact that if you're not speaking English at all and have only English Google Translator, you could, I don't know, go for the interview, you will just not get the result, because loads of positions like require you to have current, I know, the level of English anyway. But what I'm saying, that from the level, I don't know, from the level when you can explain what you think, even in super simple words, it's not a reason to stop. I mean, it's not a reason not to go anywhere, to any English speaking market or to any English speaking community. And this is how to say a self when I'm explaining to myself, it's a self
explanation, or
no, it's like самоубеждение, self
persuasion.
Yeah, something like that. But it's a self-persuasion, because I am still afraid of loads of things because of English, and it's much easier for me to do in Russian, of course. But I am just insisting on the fact that it's not the barrier. And yeah, about the integration, less fear, more integration. So yeah.
If you have just one little note, if you have the level similar to Ksenia's, please leave all your fear behind you and go participate, move, apply for jobs online in foreign countries. Please do that, okay? As long as you can do it on the same level, you're good to go. Just to know.
Yeah, but I also wanted to mention the moment that when you don't even have such a super high level as I do, you will be motivated to get it if you try, and if you see where are your weaknesses and where it's not enough, you will know where to go deeper. Because otherwise, one of my friends, I've been visiting them in Georgia, and I was listening to his online English class, and they were spending entire hour for the pronunciation, when the problem is not with the pronunciation. I mean, not the problem, but the room for improvement is not in the pronunciation, first of all. So let's put the priorities right as well, because the pronunciation, in my opinion, is the last thing to to discuss, or maybe not the last, but somewhere in the end of the story. So that's the thing I'm also trying to say, that if we do not know what's the problem, and the pronunciation is not the biggest problem when you're going to the interview, we would dig not in the right place as well. So we could try, we could live through these moments of shame and stupidity, and to name I don't know, one of my okay, I will not tell who, but she was on the interview, and she said, instead of develop the envelope, and she said the country's envelope instead of country's development to develop. So it's super stupid, but before the moment of this, you will not understand what you need to develop. Maybe you just need to practice because she knows all these words, just without practice she's forgetting everything. So yeah, I'm not sure that I'm very clear, but it's right.
No. I hear you. Yes, and I absolutely agree with this approach, because you're right. There are many people from European countries, very high positions and stuff. They're never ashamed of having quite a heavy accent sometimes, and it's never a problem for them. So we should be a little bit more confident in that sphere. I agree here for sure, 100%. Though I don't want to spend much time for this lesson speaking about learning English, because we will get to it at some other time, and we will discuss this thoroughly some other time. Today, I want to talk about how to live the life of a freelance free person who can travel where they want, and they can work where they want, and they can what no,
it's not the time when we can say that we can travel anywhere we want. It's some problems here, but yeah, I'm just laughing. That's my painful.
No, I mean, I get that. Of course, there are problems. Of course, there are limitations, but still, I mean, I just mean, I think there are many people who would kill for an opportunity to have an online stable source of income. And that's exactly what you did for yourself, because you used to work in corporate, and then you left that huge company, which was, by the way, what was it, Gazprom or Lukoil?
Yeah, Lukoil.
Yeah, so that was that sounded like a dream job. I mean, a couple of years ago in Russia. So I think that's something that sounded like a dream job. Then you left that, and then you switched to something which sounds totally like a dream job right now, which is an owner of a website.
I'm following trends.
Yes. You're setting them, and this is not even a joke, because at the end of it, I will remind everyone who's listening or watching it about my website that Ksenia designed for me, which was like a couple of weeks before New York Times magazine came out with in the very same style. So anyway,
this is funny. Yeah,
but that's the end of it. They are recent events. Let's get back to the beginning. So tell me first a couple of words why you decided to leave a big company. I mean, you had it all in Lukoil, didn't you?
Let me first of all summarize our previous 10 minutes, because I wanted to tell you that, in my opinion, the key skill which allows you to do so is English. It's expanding the opportunities crucially, if I can say so. So yeah, let's not minimize the importance of this fact. And regarding your question, okay, let's start from the very beginning. I've been working in Lukoil as a contract manager from 2017 to 2020, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was for a couple of years in Dubai, and then in Prague. And if in Dubai I was simply enjoying the location, first of all, Then in Prague, it was totally not my cup of tea in terms of the place, in terms of the work I've been doing. I had a skill to do it already after these years, but I was not. I was just struggling every single day of waking up and getting to my working place, and yeah, I think it was just not my my field, my thing to do, and that's simply it. So from like that at that moment, I was not going to something, I was going from something. I definitely knew that I do not want this. I was exhausted and pretty much depressed, because I was just simply exhausted. There are loads of things to tell about it. It was just too busy and too tough. So yeah, I didn't know what I'm going to do. I just, thanks to Lukoil and thanks to the previous work, I had some savings to do so. To be honest, they ended much faster than I expected. But anyway, so I decided just to leave.
So just to make it clear, you didn't know what you're going to do next when you left the...
No. I even didn't know what I want. I just knew that I don't want this. And everyone told me that it was bold. I was not feeling so, because it is bold to continue doing what you do not like for a long time. It's really bold. in those emotions and feelings, it was so much needed to leave this and to start a further step, just to tidy up your life. You know, it's just to, there is a phrase in Russian that you need to close the previous door to open the new one. So I just closed the previous door. And yeah, I really didn't know where to go, but I needed rest. I needed to change the environment in all the senses. So in 2020, we had a wonderful February when I was just simply traveling. And then I moved to Vienna to start learning German and just looking for myself and to trying to understand what I like to do and what I want to do, because I felt that I cannot earn enough on what I hate. I mean, not hate, but what I am not in love with, and what I'm not enjoying even sometimes. It doesn't mean that I'm enjoying everything I'm doing now, but there are moments, at least. There is always a routine part, but there are moments, of course. And yeah, that was the reason. From something. The motivation was not to something, it was from something, first of all.
Can I ask one uncomfortable question? I mean, it could be uncomfortable, so feel free not to answer. But can you tell me how old were you? I mean, I really need to ask that because like, I'm super old.
It was 2020. I was 29.
29, okay. Yeah, because
29. Yeah.
To me, it's really important to ask this because I see many people who feel like in their 30s, it's and coming closer to the 40s where I am, it's too late to start something completely new. It's late to make a new fresh start and start from scratch.
It's not a fresh start. It's not from scratch. It's based on all the experience which was before. And I can say that even without Dubai, I would not be where I am now. I mean, I would never go through this language barrier and communication barrier as well, because when I was living there and working in this like international environment, I was just breaking these barriers, and just this period allowed me to do so, to work in this and to work the way I'm doing now. It's all based on the experience. It's if I did the same in 22, and I'm looking for the people to work with, young people to work with, I see the things that they don't have that I have, because of the experience, because of this time, because of the like a better standing on your feet, knowing that you will manage anyway. and you have loads of moments which prove it because of your previous experience. So that's not from the beginning. That's a lie. That's not a white paper. It's all your baggage. It's all your previous I don't know, 10 years or 20 years. I don't know how many of moving in different circumstances and in different realities.
Right. That's just adaptation. It's not failure. It's not, I don't know,
Step back.
It's not a step back. Yes. It's just adaptation, and those, not the strongest species survives. Those who adapt better survive. That's the
I can also tell you that I'm 32 now, and I'm planning to study at the university, and it's the first time I'm wishing and willing and dreaming to study in the field that I'm working in already for 3 years, right? So it's not possible when you're 20 or 18, because you had not a chance to have this experience to make sure that you want an education here in this field. So this is actually it's a conversation I had with my friend a week ago. He said, like, why do you in the first place want to study? It's a step back. You can work, you can live. Why do you want to spend so much money for that? And why do you want to spend time for that? And actually, I was doubting at the moment, but it took me a couple of days to figure out that it's not a step back, it's a step further, because I want it, first of all. And it's enough. So 32, 35, 18, who told that it's late? I don't know.
Yes. Which leads me to the next question, which I wanted to ask, which is, okay, you understood at some point that working in a big corporation was not for you, but then you had some period of time where you were sort of searching for yourself, searching for what you want to be doing. When was that moment when you realized that web design is something you want to be doing?
when my savings ended and I needed to something else. Really, I mean, it was 2020. It was a COVID lockdown. Because of it, I got back to St. Petersburg because it was not just reasonable to pay for the apartment with no income in Vienna and so on. I thought it will be ended in a month or two. So, okay, we see now where it went to. But anyway, so I was just having a rest, lying on my pink sofa and watching a series and doing nothing for a while. And then somehow I started to just try to follow the interests, the tiny moments of interest, which were waking up after having some rest. And first of all, I had a course with Adobe Illustrator. So it's just a software for illustrators or graphic designers. Then I went a little bit deeper. Then I opened the website somehow of the graphic designer in Australia who is creating the wedding invites in printed, and she sold them for 600. The price started from 600 euro per pack, and I said, okay, I could do the same and create this invites and just sell them worldwide and so on. And then this idea just changed to the idea of wedding website, because the world has changed and all the weddings for the year were cancelled. And I knew that from my friend whose wedding was planned for 16th of March. And there were 4 people on that wedding instead of many. So I mean that everyone should notify the guests about the cancellations and everything, and it's very difficult to do so with a printed invitation. So I decided to make it a little bit more digital, And that's when I went to the websites in general, and then I tried to find suitable courses to know more about the web design and how to design and how to develop with no code, because to learn a coding would be like too much for a couple of months. And then yes, then was a moment when it was it was September 2020. So after more than half a year after leaving the previous job, when I just posted on Instagram that I have to find cases for my portfolio. So anyone who wants a website with a super cheap and low price, like, you're very welcome. And you'll not believe me, but the first client I had was a friend of a friend of a friend, and she is a partner of an owner of an event agency in New York. So it was Instagram, and it was my super first post about that, and the recommendations of a friend of a friend. And they in the first place, they ordered just leaflets for some ads or something. And then I opened their website. I saw their events. The events were super cool, and their website was pretty, let's say, low quality, or not presenting them on the needed level. And I just gave some suggestions of what I could improve, and we started working. So it was my very first project. Yeah, 2020 was cool because once we signed the contract, I had COVID in a day. But anyway, I said that I had to do so. I had to present this new skill just because I needed to start earning something, and that's it. That was
that's a, I mean, that sounds like something from a movie, but I can confirm that can on Instagram.
It does.
Like, I can just say that even if you're not well connected, even if you don't have, this network of people who are
not at all, yeah, not at all, because I think I had like 300 or 400 followers, and they are all like my friends. It's not I have never been a blogger or an influencer or anything, and still I'm not. I'm super lazy of posting everything on Instagram. Yeah.
But having come from where you came and like all this way, when you have done all these things and all these steps, and now you are where you are right now, looking back, what would you advise to people who want to do the same? Like, do you think there are certain things that, I mean, that sounds like that went super smoothly for you, except for the COVID part, but overall it went quite smoothly from what I can understand. But maybe there are things that you would have done differently, or you would advise people to do differently, like having this experience. Let's say there is a person, they want to do their business online in the digital sphere, maybe in web design, maybe something else. What would be your recommendations for the beginners?
I would say that the only advice I could give to myself and to anyone else is to follow the interest, because otherwise you will never have enough energy to go on long enough. You'll be just burned out. It works for some time on the wheel, but that's not giving a huge results, and that's the mistake that I'm still doing. I mean, the field you are choosing, the clients you are taking, the partners you're working with, everything. If you feel this exhausting, it's not something that's a mirage, or I don't know, it is exhausting if it's exhausting for you, and it's different for everyone. And I would suggest not to base on anyone else. I mean, base only on yourself, really. And in my opinion, it's the only thing that works. Yeah.
All right. Now, that sounds very, I mean, I agree with that. I could not agree with this more as a person who is still in search for what to do next. And I agree 100% that the only thing you should consider is your personal, I would not even say rational thinking. I mean, there could be people who might argue with me, but I think it's very important to be able to listen to your intuition, to your emotional response.
And this is a skill as well.
Yes. This is where this emotional intelligence becomes really, really important. And I think it's important to develop it. But I really, really wanted to make it a little bit more practical because I want, you know, being here, sometimes being not in Russia and working online, you talk to people and you realize that for many of them, those who have a lot of ability, a lot of talent, what stops them from living the way they want to live is that they're not able to, or they're afraid, or they think that they're not able to go online. So I think that one something that they should consider apart from learning English, we have agreed that that's the first step. Necessity. But I think another important milestone is getting your website, because this is why it's booming so much. This is why it's such a huge area, such a huge market, because really this is something which represents you, something which
that there is a super simple explanation to that I'm also trying to give myself, because since this year I hadn't my own website. It was just a word of mouth for my clients, but it's limiting you to a very narrow community. If it's just a word of mouth that someone tells that you are good and so on, so you can be super good in what you're doing, but if no one knows about it, that's the end of story. So but the website is it's also a base. It's a necessity, but it's also the very beginning, because you need to promote the website and you need to find the people who see that website and read about you and so on. But it could be depending on the field, depending on the audience you're targeting at. It could be a different platform. It could be Instagram. It could be, I don't know, TikTok. It could be anything. And it could be a website, because it like belongs to you, and it's a platform which is not limiting you to the format. So you can create any website you want, and you can place as much information as you want, and you can create such an interaction as you want, and the functionality and everything. So and it's actually super easy in the very beginning, in the first place, when you are having a skill that you want to sell. Then just name the skill, name what you want to sell, name how much is it, and name just for yourself who you're selling it to, and it could be your very first website. But then it could be developed, and depending on the aims and goals, changed and improved and made professionally and so on. And here we are, if needed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to say that to me, it was a revelation when working with you. One thing which surprised me most is that it was not about, I mean, the main reason why I chose you as the web design agency for my website was definitely the visual part, because I saw a project, I knew it was going to be good. But then something which I had not expected at all is the way you represent me and my skills on this website, which was, and I didn't even know that was something you would be doing, if you know what I mean. Like, I thought you would expect it from me. I truly believe, honestly, that it's like super difficult to do. I even think that it's almost impossible to do it for yourself. It's very difficult to say and represent yourself in terms of your business. It's very difficult to do. I mean, of course, it should be coming from you. You should be the person who is basically giving all these, how to say that, the general information about that, right? And main points. But then someone like Ksenia should be able to see the angle at which to sort of shed the light at the most important, the most appealing parts of you as a person, of you as an expert, which you would never be able to do yourself, because like you cannot see the picture from the distance, and people like Ksenia and her team can. And that was like such a revelation for me. It was such a huge surprise. I did not expect it to happen. Do you do that? Do you do that for every client? Does it happen in every project or not necessarily?
Yes, for sure. First of all, I need to point out here that this getting to the roots skill is this previous experience. I mean, I'm just proving the fact that you never start from the very beginning. It's not the quality that you're getting from nowhere. It's the quality that you're getting from your previous things you've done before. So that's the main part. And I know that it's my how to say, strong skills. Yeah. So it's just getting back to the fear of being late with something. Then I cannot say thank you enough for being such a client, because not everyone is so much appreciating this fact, and loads of people try to dig into the details and ask me to move one phrase to another place, or make it like a centered or left aligned left, and so on. And they are not like seeing the whole picture. We are not talking in the first place about the location of the text. We are talking about the senses, about the structure, about the usability, about the user flow, how and where will the person click and go and get, and what impression, what will be done. So this is a really rare thing, what you're saying, that you are just noticing these moments. And what I can say from my view, that that's not a rare situation when the task with which initially the client came with is changed. I don't know. I wanted to say 360 degrees, but no, 180 degrees opposite. So, I mean, I ask loads of questions. Once I visited one website of the very cool agency, and they wrote the phrase that we ask loads of dumb questions, but we end up with the great results. And I cannot say yet about great results. It's all those self-doubts, and of course there is what to compare with. But we of course ask loads of dumb questions, because the problem is everyone of us think that if it's clear for himself, it's clear for everyone. So you are thinking about your product, and you think that everyone knows the same about this product. And I'm trying to be this super outside person who needs to understand everything, and who needs to show your strengths and your service for the dumbest person in the world, because only in this case it will be clear for everyone. If it's intuitively easy to use, when it's intuitively easy, understandable what to read further and where to click further, and so on. And even you, I mean, you as a client in general, not always understand what to sell. I mean, you know what you can do? For example, I can do websites. Why do you need a website? I'm not selling a website. I shouldn't sell a website. I need to sell the tool for selling the products, for example, or a tool for presenting your personality. So it's not just a website. It's a tool for something. And we, as clients everywhere, we do not normally look at our products the way I'm asking you, because I need to present it, I need to show it, I need to make it better than it was, this product and this service, to make it clearer, to make it to make it stand out of the crowd, let's say. So yeah, I'm not sure that I remember the question you asked. But you asked if I do the same thing with everyone. Yes, from different angles, because we always start from different places. But yes, of course, because we need to understand the aim of this project. We need to understand why you need this project. Sometimes after some meetings, we even realize that the client does not need a website in general. Or when we discuss some just graphic works, we understand that the graphic work is not needed. We need a website. So yeah, we start from the very end. What's the aim? What's the goal? And then we go to the roots, how to do so, and how to reach the same.
Cool. This is so cool. This is so cool. I like this approach so much, and I think this is not something you find in every agency. And this is just like, yeah, that's a rare thing to find. I think this is, but okay, so that's one thing we now know should be considered when someone thinks about their website. But what are the other key points? I know that it shouldn't be like, I don't want you to like think of it as a list that you should provide, but like, if I was asking you, what do you think are the important things to consider when creating a website? So one is to be able to like know what your final goal is in creating this website, why you need this. Another thing is that you have to be able to present your expertise, your product, whatever it is, in the way which is super easy and clear for the clients. But are there any things that we should consider when we want to have a website?
I would say maybe it's my just my pain in work, but I think it's super important to have time for that, because it's not just a thing which is delegated and you say, okay, create a website for me. It's, first of all, it's super annoying, because when you see that the client is not interested in the project, you also get this energy. But of course, it's not your problem. But anyway, but the more important part here is that no one knows the product better than you do, better than the owner of the product or of the service, and we will never be able to guess what you want to sell, and or I mean, sell, because it's always a selling of your face. I don't know, selling your brand, selling of your products. That's why I name it sell, present. So without your time and without your precious thinking about our questions, we would never have a good product. So you also have your work in here. It doesn't mean that we put our work on you, but it's your work which cannot be done by us. Yeah, super important thing. Another one, which is pretty much connected to the first, which is a goal, is for which audience are you creating it, where it will be used, simply technically. I mean, will you just send this website when someone requests to see your works, or will you send this website to a promotion to, I don't know, Google Ads, or which kind of promotion you are considering, if you're considering, and the budgets to choose the way to promote, and so on. It's also super important for us to understand where to go. Yeah, so what's the goal? I mean, to sell, to present, to promote, where to do so, and we could discuss it together. Of course, it's not the point which should be super ready from the very beginning. And who is the audience you want to communicate with? And I'm not meaning this classical description of target audience, like 25 to 35
No?
years old women in Russia, or I don't know, somewhere with an income higher
I
than
the internet
average.
is so bad today.
Sorry? The connection is not good, right?
Yes,
Hello?
this is. Oh, it was perfect, before we
Before we?
before we got on this call. As we got
Um,
on it, it started to become really, really slow. But I can hear well now. It seems like it's
yeah, okay. Yeah,
get back
it's
to
also
normal.
better for me. It's also better for me. So yeah, I meant the audience in terms of their aims as well. So why they will visit your website and why will they be triggered? Because these questions or answers to these questions will help us to create a content, to structure the website, the logic, the user flow. I have already mentioned that. The user flow is a thing that imagine that you're a user, you're just getting to the first screen, and what you do next. And all these links should be well thought. And of course, it's our work, but who is the user? We need to discuss and we need to understand to build the correct logic. Yeah. So I would say that these are the most important things to discuss in the first place. And there are hundreds of others that I could not even mention.
Yes. But okay. Tell me please something maybe to just not to make it look like it's so sugar coated and it's just like all fun and your website and having your online business. Can you tell me some of the challenges? Let's discuss some of the challenges the person who goes freelance and the person who opens up an online business has. What do you think are the most difficult parts here?
I would say that responsibility, because when you have a contract and you are employed, you can get sick and you can get a sick leave and you'll be still paid and you can have a vacation and you can just switch off your phone. Yeah, of course, if you are not, I don't know, a doctor or someone else, with a super responsible job. But I have underestimated that fact because I have already mentioned that after I signed my very first contract, I had COVID. And that was a moment when I was really scared of the fact that I have to earn. I am sick. I cannot see the screen. I mean, I cannot look at the screen at all. And I have signed the contract. And there is no one who will back me up. So this is a huge thing to consider. How you will back up yourself. And it's leading to the second problem when you start to delegate, when you start to look for a team. It's sorry for saying that, but it's a pain in the ass because to find people who you are comfortable to work with, it's very difficult for me. I have a problem, an issue of extra controlling and so on, and it's really a difficult part. So yeah, I think that we always have to overestimate the time we need, because otherwise we end up with a burnout or a sickness or anything else. Yeah, this is important. And the problem is that you are never working. So you are free to do so anywhere, everywhere with your laptop. I'm always working at the airports. I'm always working on the flights. I'm always working because I don't have the connection there. so I can work calmly without any interruptions from the messengers and so on. You're working weekends because you can work, why not? And that's a problem. So this discipline of having rest, of scheduling rest, is a super important part. And I
agree to that.
Here.
Yeah, this is super important. Yes, and I want to stress this once again, because normally what I see is that people who want to do freelance, who want to work for themselves, and especially those who want to be entrepreneurs, they tend to be this workaholics, high wired, people who are either are overachievers and perfectionists, or just workaholic lunatics like myself. And for that type of personality, you need, and I cannot overstress this, you need to schedule your rest. You cannot be like, I will rest when I'm tired, because for workaholics, it's just like for alcoholics, you cannot have just one,
because when you are tired, you cannot move. Yeah, and the problem is that when I schedule the rest, and I get to this point when the rest is scheduled, I think, okay, why do I need rest? I'm okay. I'm still okay. So I'm getting to rest only at the moment when I'm not okay. And sometimes you don't have a chance to get a rest when you're not okay, because you have the contracts and the deadlines and everything. So yeah, this is super important. And they have never thought that having your rest is much more difficult to work than to work. And when you are employed, you always have someone who will tell you, okay, go home. I mean, it's 7 p.m. or something. And or you can take your holidays and vacation and public holidays. And when I contact a client and someone says like, oh, it's your holidays, so sorry for being late with a reply, I okay, what? Public holidays? What is that? Yeah, this is a big challenge. This is a super big challenge. Yeah.
Yes. I getting back to this public holiday thing. I agree that it's like super funny. At some point, someone didn't cancel the lesson beforehand because it was the 1st of May. And then when they tell them like, hello, let's start the lesson, they were like, well, but that's a public holiday, like this big guy. What? 1st of
Which
May?
holiday?
What are we celebrating?
It's my birthday.
Again?
It's my birthday. That's why it's a public holiday.
Okay. Yeah, now I will not make this mistake anymore. No worries.
Yeah, but also it's super difficult to not know that there is a salary. So there is not a moment when you are sure that you will have money, because there are loads of things that will go wrong. And and it's actually it's making me anxious pretty much, because you cannot be sure that this day you will get your salary, and you never know. Of course, you not never know, but you do not have to sell your employer your work every month. But when you're a freelancer, you have to promote yourself all the time.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
And promotion, I hate promotion. I just hate promotion. I hate selling myself. It's also I think it's also a cultural complex, or something else connected to the shame or underestimation. But I hate explaining to everyone what am I doing and why do they need to contact me in case they need a website, because of course there are loads of people who do the same thing, but of course it's not the same, but kind of the same, named the same. So yeah, this is a big part to consider. How will you promote yourself? Because you can be a super specialist, but if no one knows about you, who will you work with?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter how good you are. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we could have a separate talk on promoting yourself, and I think that we should, because at some point. I think it is so crucial, especially as you mentioned, culturally, it is much more difficult for us. And
Yeah.
I think it's like, actually, that's like a separate job. So someone else ideally has to be doing this for you if you go online, if you want to have an online enterprise. But that's not what's happening in the real world. In the real world, you need to be doing it
It's
yourself.
also not
And actually,
happening. It's also not happening because we are not used to delegate as well. But I mean, about the promotion, it's not about only the work to do, but even if you just meet some people and you have to say who you are, what you are doing, like professionally for living, I feel confused because it took me, I think it took me 2 years to not get ashamed of saying that I'm a designer, because how can I say that I'm a designer that if I have no education or if I have not enough experience or something else? So yeah, it took me a long time. So yeah. So the promotion, I meant this as well.
This is the craziest thing that you're telling me about when you meet people, not being able to tell them that you're a web designer. I would never have guessed that, but that's what I've been doing for 10 years, at least for myself. Like I could not, it was very, very difficult for me to introduce myself as an English teacher, especially abroad, because I was not a native speaker. And I was always afraid of this, attitude that, okay, how can you be, and that's just, it hits me so hard what you're telling me right now. Like I thought,
yeah, actually,
I had no reason to do that, and now you're doing this the same thing with no reasons behind that. And it makes me feel like maybe I was doing it without any reasons as well.
I can say that I think we ending up with the reason why we went online with our online classes, because every single time we were discussing something that in our opinion could trigger others, and that could maybe make their life easier, because we have the same problems, the same barriers, the same things to think about and to be confused about and so on. So yeah, this is kind of the motivation in the first place, why we are here. Because every single time we start to discuss something, and for example, Galina tells me the story, and I say, yes, this is the thing, or in opposite. Yeah.
But this one, I honestly, that would be the last thing I would ever imagine bothered anyone else on this earth but me, honestly. Like,
yeah. When I first went to the psychologist and I said that I'm not confident enough, she said, fake it until you make it. I mean, like, pretend you are the person who is confident enough. What would this person do in this very moment? So I think that there are very few people in the world who will say that I'm not confident enough. I'm super not confident. So this is the thing. One of the moments to learn and to practice before we go to integrate ourselves in another community or another environment. So no one will make you more confident than you do.
And yes. Yeah, I agree with that. And if anyone who's listening to that, and if they have ever felt like they are, not enough for doing a particular type of job, but if you are being paid for what you do, you should never ever feel not confident enough to mention.
I can say that there is a thing to add for me to this point, because if you think that you're not enough, either do what you're enough for, or make something to get enough. I mean, name the things that you have to do to become enough. And once they are done, do not go on with other things. So there is a moment when you are good enough. Of course, I do not mean that you should create websites or teach English when you do not know English or or do not know how to do websites. But I mean that if you think that you're not enough, find that point where you are enough and get there. Don't find another point and then go further. That's the thing.
Yes. But at the same time, keep in mind that if someone does pay you for teaching you English, or if someone does pay you for doing their websites, I mean, you can't, I mean, there could be some, I don't know, maybe there could be some occasions, some coincidences when that happened, that a person, you know, by mistake started making money doing something they're not good enough for. Being self-employed, I mean, not being employed, but specifically being self-employed, and you get clients and you do this over a year. Okay, let's put a period on that. If you keep doing this for more than a year, if people pay you for your service, and you go to a party, someone asks you what to do, please don't don't be mean.
Yeah. I would also say that the self-doubts will never disappear, because there is always someone who is doing it better than you do. But let's not forget that if you are a professional in English in teaching, you know much more about the process, and you know much more about the people who do so. And the same for me. I know I don't know, awards-winning web designers, and of course I compare myself to the top of the top. But sometimes it's not needed to be the super top of the top to solve the task and to teach someone English, or to create a website which is good enough and which is bringing you to the goal. I mean, there is always someone better, and I mean, it will be always like that whenever you are and wherever you are. So there is
That's
always
true.
someone to
That's
compare
true.
with.
Yes.
Always.
Yes, that's something to keep in mind for sure.
So there should be a point where to start, at least. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, we are running out of time, and before we do, I really wanted you to tell us more about the internship program that I understand you have, because that could be the first real step for many people to their dream life, to their dream job. So please.
Yeah, can't say that it's like a formulated program, but as I've mentioned, that my pain is to find a team and to find a close-minded people who can work together with joy and professionalism. So yeah, I'm always welcoming people who just starting to do design, motion design, you know, AI design, web design, promotion, copywriting, anything, copywriting with ChatGPT. So feel free to text me if you have anything, any questions, or I don't know, any ideas or plans to work, or you just want to try your skills. I would definitely take time to consider and to talk and to meet, of course. So yeah, we just, the way we work is interns normally, it sounds like a free work, I forgot the word, work power, рабочая сила.
Workforce, yeah.
Yeah, workforce, but it's not so, because it's much faster for me to make my job than to explain the intern how to do so, and then to check and correct and so on. So this is kind of a study on real projects, and if it goes well, it could end up a real work with real projects, being a freelancer, because I will not suggest employment now. I totally am for the freedom. And so yeah, this is a very, in my opinion, it's very logical and convenient way to get to the real clients through kind of a free study. So yeah, super welcome anytime. I will do my best to have time for that. But I'm really interested in gathering the team and teaching the team and becoming a powerful agency, not the studio of a few people. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I have to say that I'm so jealous toward anyone who will be working with Ksenia. I don't know. I just have to say that because I don't know. It's a rare chance to learn. It's a rare chance to find someone who will actually teach you, and with such passion toward the subject and with such work ethic. That is very rare. I have to say that. I know it's very uncomfortable for you to listen to it, Ksenia, but I have to be saying this. It's a very rare thing to find. So if I had anything to do with the design, I would jump at this opportunity without even, a second thought. Unfortunately, I'm like as bad at it as it gets. But if your dream is to be in this field, I cannot overestimate how useful that can be. So please contact Ksenia. I will leave all the details of how to do that on Instagram and on Telegram. And yes, I hope that that has been an interesting hour for all of those who were able to invest into that.
Yeah, and I would also add that we do not discuss only professional topics. We are normally laughing on stupid jokes and discussing live content. So yeah, if you have any topics you would like us to talk about, let us know, because we have our classes every Wednesday. And I think it could be a great chance to continue with this format.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's excellent. And yeah, I'm looking forward to all the questions, especially to live content. And please try that. You will see how fun it gets.
Yeah, I can say that this was kind of a challenge for me because you see, I'm pretty red because I had to do the thing which is the most difficult for me. And one of the reasons I came to Galina to make me easier to present myself in the professional field as well. And thank you so much for having a chance of this opening the shell and and being in the same safe environment and let's say repetitioning and trying to do so loud. So yeah, what's difficult was challenging, but it's a huge step forward. So thanks a lot again, as usually, as normally, as every week.
It is my pleasure. It is my pleasure. All right. Well, we've got to run. Thanks once again to you and to everyone who has been listening. Have a super great day, and we'll get back to you.
Same to you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.